Imagine dropping the Empire State Building into the ocean. Now stack another Empire State Building on top of it, then another, and another. Do that 9 times and you still won't reach the bottom. That's the Mariana Trench. Nearly 11,000 meters deep. No sunlight. No warmth. Just total darkness and pressure so intense it would crush a submarine like an aluminum can. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about what lies down there. But here's what's changed. One country has decided they can't afford not to know. China is sending fleets of deep-sea robots into those depths right now. They're building underwater stations. They're mapping the ocean floor in secret. And while they do that, America is cutting its ocean research budget. So the real question isn't at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The real question is, who gets there first, and what happens to the rest of the world when they do? So stay with us till the end of this video, because what you are about to see will shock you. Let's start at the surface, because this story begins with a journey down. When sunlight hits the ocean, it only penetrates the top 200 meters. Scientists call this the photic zone, the lit world. It's where the fish we eat live, where coral reefs grow, where 90% of all marine life exists. It's busy, warm, and familiar. Below that is the twilight zone. The light starts to fail here. The water turns cold. Strange creatures begin to appear. Fish with bioluminescent lures dangling from their heads. Shrimp that glow electric blue. Jellyfish that pulse like living lanterns. It's beautiful, but unsettling. Go deeper, past 1,000 meters, and the light disappears completely. This is the midnight zone. It is always pitch black here. Always. Not cloudy night dark. Not power outage dark. Absolute, total darkness that has never once been touched by sunlight in the entire history of the Earth. The pressure at this depth is already 100 times what we feel on land. Creatures here have evolved alien bodies. Transparent flesh. No eyes. Organs that would burst if brought to the surface. Deeper still, past 4,000 meters, is the abyssal zone. This covers most of the ocean floor. It looks empty. Just flat, gray mud stretching endlessly in every direction. But that mud is hiding something. We'll come back to that. And then, finally, the hadal zone. The trenches. The deepest cuts in the Earth's crust, where tectonic plates have been grinding against each other for millions of years, creating valleys deeper than the tallest mountains are tall. The Mariana Trench, sitting in the western Pacific near Guam, is the deepest of them all. Most people will never think about any of this. But a few people and one very powerful government think about it obsessively. And that brings us to the shocking part. Before we get to geopolitics, we need to talk about something that sounds almost poetic. Marine snow. As creatures die in the upper ocean, their remains, tiny fragments of organic material, slowly drift downward. For weeks, for months, falling like a constant slow snowstorm through miles of dark water, until they finally settle on the ocean floor. This marine snow carries carbon from the surface down to the deep. It feeds the creatures at the bottom. It's a massive, invisible cycle that regulates the planet's climate. And then there's the whale fall, one of the most extraordinary events in nature. When a whale dies, its body sinks to the ocean floor and becomes an entire ecosystem overnight. Hagfish and sleeper sharks arrive first, stripping the flesh. Then crabs and worms move in to clean the bones. And finally, over years, sometimes decades, bacteria break down the very skeleton itself, releasing sulfur compounds that feed an entirely different community of life. One whale sustains a food web for up to a century. Scientists didn't discover whale falls until 1987. We'd been studying the ocean for centuries and had no idea this was happening. That's the point. We genuinely don't know what's down there. And increasingly, what we're finding is worth fighting over. Here's where the story turns from fascinating to urgent. That gray mud on the abyssal floor is hiding trillions of dollars in minerals. Scattered across the ocean floor are what scientists call polymetallic nodules. Potato-sized lumps of rock that have been slowly forming for millions of years. They're packed with cobalt, nickel, manganese, and copper. The same minerals that go into electric vehicle batteries, wind turbines, and smartphones. The same minerals that every major economy on Earth is desperately trying to secure right now. The Clarion-Clipperton Zone, a stretch of Pacific Ocean floor the size of the continental United States, is estimated to contain more of these minerals than all of Earth's land-based deposits combined. But that's not all. There's also fire ice. Its real name is methane hydrate, and it looks like ordinary ice. Except if you hold a flame to it, it burns. It forms when methane gas gets trapped inside frozen water crystals under extreme pressure on the ocean floor. The amount of energy locked inside known methane hydrate deposits is estimated to be greater than all of the world's remaining coal, oil, and natural gas reserves put together. The country that figures out how to safely extract fire ice won't just have an energy source. They'll have the energy source for generations. China has already successfully extracted methane hydrates from the South China Sea. The United States has done test trials. But China is moving faster. China's deep-sea program isn't a secret, but most people in the West have no idea how advanced it's become. Their submersible, the Fenduzi, which means striver, reached the bottom of the Challenger Deep, the deepest point in the Mariana Trench, in 2020. It collected samples, filmed footage, and returned safely. China now has multiple crewed and uncrewed submersibles capable of reaching hadal depths. But it goes further. China is developing underwater gliders, unmanned drones that can silently patrol the ocean floor for months, collecting data, mapping terrain, and potentially locating and monitoring foreign submarine cables and military infrastructure. 95% of all international internet traffic travels through undersea cables. Financial transactions, military communications, government data. All of it flows through roughly 400 cable lines snaking across the ocean floor. They are extraordinarily vulnerable, and mapping their exact locations is extraordinarily valuable. China is also working towards something that sounds like science fiction. A permanent underwater research station on the ocean floor. Think of it as an undersea version of a space station, a base where scientists and potentially military personnel can live and work at depth for extended periods. If that sounds far-fetched, consider this. China has already put a space station in orbit. They landed a rover on the far side of the moon. They are not a country that announces things they cannot do. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The United States is losing this race. Not because American scientists aren't talented. They are. Not because American technology isn't capable. It is. But because at exactly the moment China is doubling down on ocean research, the US has been cutting funding to institutions like NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, reducing deep-sea research missions, and scaling back the oceanographic programs that once made America the world leader in this field. China, meanwhile, has made ocean exploration a stated national priority. They've poured billions into it. They've trained a generation of deep-sea scientists. They've built the ships, the robots, and the infrastructure. The deep sea is about to become what space was in the 1960s. A frontier where the dominant power gets to write the rules, control the resources, shape the technology, and project power in ways the rest of the world can't easily challenge or even see. In space, the race was public. It was televised. The whole world watched. This race is happening in total darkness, miles beneath the surface, completely out of sight. The Mariana Trench is not just a geological curiosity. It is not just a record to be broken by adventurous billionaires in fancy submarines. It is the next great frontier of human competition. And the stakes are enormous. Trillions in minerals, untapped energy sources that could power civilizations, control over the cables that carry the world's information, the ability to monitor, surveil, or disrupt the military forces of any nation on Earth. The country that masters the deep ocean will have leverage that no aircraft carrier, no satellite, no nuclear arsenal can easily counter. The ocean covers 71% of this planet. We've explored less than 25% of it. The rest, including the Mariana Trench, is still largely unknown. And right now, one country is racing to change that. Quietly, methodically, mile by mile, meter by meter. The question isn't whether this will reshape geopolitics. It already is. The question is whether anyone else is paying attention. So what do you think about this adventure? Let's hear from you in the comments. And don't forget to share, subscribe, and like, because you don't want to miss what we have next for you.